This Prezi takes a critical look at peer review in the academic publishing process, why we need it, what we can gain from it, and how to respond to it when we are working with journal or book editors and peer reviewers. To open, let's think a bit about what peer review is and why we get peer review on papers, book chapters, and book proposals in academic publishing. In the main, peer review is important for publishers because they enable you to send your writing to your academic peers in your field. This enables them to get a critical sense of the originality of your work, the contribution it could make to the field, the scholarly character of your work, and the fit with the journal or book's objectives. Peer review is useful for writers because it gives you a sense of a typical reader's response to your work and critique and feedback that can help you revise and enhance your paper. This feedback can also be taken forward into other writing projects and learned from in an accumulative way. So how do editors and reviewers expect authors to respond to feedback? As far as possible, editors try to send your work to people who will understand what you are writing about and be interested and engaged so that they can offer you useful, insightful feedback. Thus, they expect you, as do the reviewers, to consider all the feedback carefully and thoughtfully. They don't necessarily expect you to listen to all of it. Often there are suggestions that are beyond the scope of the paper. You as the author do have the final decision about what you revise and how you do it. But you cannot just ignore peer review just because you don't like what the reviewers have said. You need to allow yourself time to feel angry or hurt or upset, especially with critical peer review. Then, take a few days before you go back to the comments with fresher eyes and consider what they are saying about your paper and your writing. What are they suggesting you could do to improve the paper? There is always room for improvement in our writing, and it would be foolish to dismiss valuable opportunities to revise your work and get it published. There are a range of ways to respond to editors and reviewers during and after the revision process when you are resubmitting the paper. The rule of thumb here: always say thank you and always be polite, even if you feel the reviewers were not. Most journals will specify how they would like you to respond, and if they do, follow those instructions carefully. If they do not, here are a few examples based on standard guidelines. Always write a short, polite covering letter to the editors thanking them for the opportunity to be published in the issue and for the feedback on the paper. Include a clear summary of the revisions you have made, as well as the suggestions from the reviewers that you have not followed and why you have done so. You may also need to include word count, conflict of interest, and any funding declarations if asked to. You would then need to upload or attach the revised paper, and we would recommend that you mark up the revisions and changes as shown here in different colored text. You can use track changes, but this can get messy if the paper needs to be re-reviewed post-revisions. So a cleaner way of marking the changes is advisable. You can also summarize the revisions by copying and pasting the reviewer's feedback into a table or clean document and responding to each comment individually, indicating where the reader should look in the text to note the changes. The easier you can make it for the editors to review your revised text, and the more diligent you are in the revision and resubmission process, the better your chances of being published. If you have sent off a paper for review and feel like it's a long time since you have heard anything, check with the journal website about their maximum peer review period. For example, if they say you will have feedback within 4 months and it has only been 3 months, wait another month and then send a polite request for a follow-up. Read the journal guidelines carefully to avoid asking for information that is readily available on the website. You as an author need to be open to all feedback, even that which you decide to ignore. And you will need to learn to manage difficult as well as lovely feedback on your writing. This does get easier the more you put your work out there and open yourself up to this process. Publishing is hard work, but the feeling of seeing your work in print is worth the effort. So stick at it and good luck.